Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.
Welcome to the Distill It with RichardListens show. I am Peter Sobey, the host of the show, and I am happy to be here on this Monday, June 5th, 2017, and we have a lot to talk about here today on the show, and so without further ado, I would like to introduce the esteemed Dr. Richard Ohlberger.
Thank you.
Welcome, Richard Ohlberger, PhD.
Thank you. Always love being greeted so officially by you.
Yes, and of course, Distill It with Richard Listens. You're the Richard of Richard Listens.
I am, and tonight I'm going to be playing with stickers.
I can't wait to hear more about that.
Yes.
That sounds pretty wildly fascinating to me. So we had a lot of fun this weekend. We're going to talk about that. Richard and I attended a sports psychology seminar that's very, very, very exciting, especially for me on certain levels and dealing with the Chicago Cubs. And you know how much I love to talk about the Chicago Cubs. It had nothing to do with donuts. That would have made it the perfect day if it was donuts and Cubs, but it was still pretty perfect. So we'll get into that more later on the show. But right now, Richard and I are here in the studio alongside our incredible engineer, Jarvis Essex, who does amazing things for us with graphics and keeping the show rolling along.
And he's wearing Florida Gators colors, so let's go Lady Gators right now.
Yeah, last we heard, as we were coming into the studio, it was tied 4-4 in the 13th inning. So it's a very exciting women's collegiate softball championship, best of three between the Florida Gators, ranked number 1, and Oklahoma Sooners, ranked number 10, but the reigning softball collegiate women champions. So we love it. But
and
we're
let
going
me
for the
say,
Gators.
I don't know how you can, these are supreme athletes, and they can put a bow in their hair, so I'm just at a loss on two accounts, but I'm rooting for them.
Yes, and I will root for them in proxy since I don't have any allegiance to Oklahoma or Florida. In honor of you, Dr. Richard, go Gators.
Go Gators.
Yes. So, as I was saying, we are sitting here in the studio, and through technology and the amazement of life and the world and the internet and wires and satellites and Bluetooth and X-rays in the air and whatever it takes, we are beaming in live via Zoom the women of the distillery, Wendy Rosenthal and Eira Schwyzer.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
And there we are. It's so wild to see you guys across from me, but on the screen and not in the chairs.
I know. It's a different perspective.
Do you guys have a pony in the female collegiate softball championship?
We're just rooting for really good play.
Yeah. I will say that I do have a little bit of a pony in the men's, which is University of Texas.
Right.
I don't know if they're playing tonight or tomorrow, but it was a tough game last night for them. But they're still in it.
And I've got to admit, because thanks to you, Wendy, and your husband, Mike Swimney, I've got a great allegiance to the Texas Longhorns now as well, after going to the alumni event a few weeks ago. So now I've got a real soft spot for the University of Texas. I love it. So yes,
that's allowed.
I'm going for them.
Hook 'em horn.
So it's great stuff. So,
yeah, and spoiler alert, our leader of our seminar this weekend was a big fan of Augie Garrido. So That was one of his mentors that he spoke about.
Awesome.
And Augie is of Texas Longhorn fame?
I believe he's the long-term softball coach. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on it, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
So yes, and so, but I think that the female softball, it's off to an exciting start because how can you go wrong? 4-4 in the 13th inning for a softball game. That's incredible. And Richard just...
I think this is a message. I'm channeling Augie
We're going to go
here.
into more great stickers, but Richard is now holding up a sticker that... Are we seeing this, Jarvis? One pitch at a time. There we go. One pitch at a time. These are little motivational stickers that we'll get more into later, but I like that one. One pitch at a time.
That's
kind of
right.
apropos. So in that spirit, we will go with the pitch that we are at right now. What a great segue. Thank you, Dr. Richard. So
You're getting better at the segues.
right. And you know, pretty soon I won't even have to say that I'm making a segue. It'll just be like people in their minds will be like, wow, that was a good segue.
They'll just know you've moved on from one topic to the next.
Right.
They'll be following you effortlessly.
But I guess I've just got a thing with bringing up the word segue because I just love that word. So, but we've got news on the show, and there's a reason why right now Richard and I are in the studio, and the distillery is coming in via Zoom. Zoom is the latest and greatest over Skype these days because you guys can see us, right?
We can see you, yeah.
What do you see on your end of that? I wonder. Like, are you looking at through my camera, or do you see the whole studio? I am curious for when we have guests.
We see the two of you.
Wow. So do you see
and we see us twice.
Oh, okay.
Do you see a bike path?
Yes. There's a bike path in our future, all of our futures.
This is testing
There
your
is.
focus. This is testing your visualization.
And actually, that's a great segue by Richard, because I think before we get into our big news, I do want to spend a minute or two talking about a great fundraiser that's coming up. Jarvis, you've got it. We've got a graphic for it here. Maybe, Eira, can you talk about this great fundraiser? It's coming up on Sunday, June 11th.
Absolutely. Why not? The Kabbalah Children's Academy is going to be doing a fun fundraising bike ride. This Sunday, we start off at about 7:30 in the morning, and there are a few different routes of varying lengths, but we've got folks of all ages coming out to ride in support of the school and raising money for a very good cause. So you can check us out at www.crowdrise.com/bike ride 2017 to donate anything that you can. Anything and everything helps. And the kids and parents of KCA, thank you in advance.
And we're all riding.
We are riding.
And Eira and I, so anything and support it, please.
Just be careful. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay, you speed demons over there.
Right.
Not with Eira. She will win.
I am the reigning champion.
She is the reigning champion.
Okay.
I know.
That makes
I gotta
sense.
put some doubt. So here's my comment for you, Eira. Can we
And what
get
does
it?
this card say?
I can't
Okay.
read that.
Yeah.
Tell me
Go
what
ahead, back into the camera. Attitude is a decision. Very nice.
It is
Attitude
indeed.
is a
It
decision.
is indeed.
And really, that does kind
And
of,
my attitude is go out and raise some good money and have fun while I'm at it.
Wow.
and that does really encompass you, Eira. Attitude is a decision.
Yes. So will you reveal which international biking jersey you'll be wearing?
Oh no, that's a surprise.
Okay.
And so, yeah,
Over
so
10,000. Now we need to get another 60. So push, everybody.
once
Get the
again,
word
we
out.
Get the
had
word.
the graphic up there, but it's crowdrise.com or .org?
.com.
.com
.com,
forward
cut off.
slash then bike ride 2017.
Bike Ride 2017.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So please, thank you. If you appreciate all the work we've been doing, we appreciate you, listeners, and anything you give is great. It's going to children. It's going to education. And we've got surprise guests hopping into the studio right now. But
Amazing. And we'll put up the graphic and mention it again before the end of the show because it's obviously a great cause that's close to all of our hearts, the KCA. And Wendy, Eira, and Richard are all riding their bikes in it.
I will be. I'll be out there. So Eira can lead the pack, and I'm going to make sure everyone is safe in front of me.
And it's funny, too, Eira, because I was going to ask you, like, even though I know it's not a competitive bike race, it doesn't surprise me that you're the reigning champion, because I was going to ask you, like, is your plan and your goal to come out on top? And obviously it is, since you did that last year.
I don't think it's her plan or goal. I just think she's better fit than the rest of us.
Just go.
We're all on our beach cruiser bikes and our 7 speeds, and Eira's on her 20 speed racing bike. she just goes.
So a great cause. So anyway,
I wasn't even halfway there when I saw her come back last year.
Oh my God, I wouldn't doubt that she laps people.
Yeah, she would if she kept going.
Yes, exactly.
So let's just do a little visualization here.
Is bringing in good money.
That's right. But what happens if you're out there and it's between you and second place, and there's an 80-year-old couple walking on the path in front of you? What decision? How do you handle that?
I just don't see those obstacles come my way. I just don't believe that the 80-year-old couple would get out there in my way. I just feel like there's nothing between me and that finish line.
That actually kind of sounds like Death Race 2000,
Is that right?
And the 80-year-old couple, they're not really worth that many points, so you probably would avoid them. It's all the younger people that you get the points for hitting.
I like that.
So great cause. We'll put up that graphic and remind people of the website toward the end of the show again. And
Garrison's asking if we can call in now. The only time he's available.
Okay. We're going to have a call-in from our good friend Garrison because he's going to be on American Ninja Warrior.
Tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah. So do you women mind if we bring him in while we're all here?
We do not mind.
He's only got a few minutes before he hits the basketball court. I guess that's
we'll just be looking for his call here any second. Do you have to text him back? Or
I probably need to. Jarvis, can I have the number? Or
cheers to Garrison.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. If you've been following our show along and stuff like that, you know that Garrison's been on the show a couple times, and he performed on American Ninja Warrior, and his episode is airing tomorrow night, I believe, and he's just going to call in and tell us a little bit about that. And I'm sure next week or in one of the subsequent weeks, we'll hear his feedback of how it actually went, because obviously he's not going to tell us tonight what you'll be watching tomorrow, but we're all very intrigued to hear how he did. So that will be very, very interesting for us to tune in.
I don't know if he can tell us, give it all away, but...
Right, but I think he could just in general tell us about the experience and
totally
what it was like, meeting some of his American Ninja Warrior idols that he's now standing beside, and it'll be really cool. So he will be calling in any moment now, but outside of that, we will kind of tease. It's kind of nice because I always love good anticipation, like a good bottle of Heinz ketchup, and we have been leading towards some big news here on the show. And as we're waiting for Garrison's call any moment now, I just want to give the audience a little bit more anticipation that after we spend a minute or two talking to Garrison about his American Ninja Warrior experience, we're going to get right into some breaking news here on the Distill It with Richard Listens show. In the meantime, we are on Facebook Live right now. Alongside, you might be watching us on ubnradio.com, Channel 1, or you might be watching us live on facebook.com/Richard Listens. I see Rachel Zayden has joined the show. My childhood friend from Carpentersville, Sean Miller, has joined us, and he said it's been a while. He's finally back. Welcome back to the show, Sean.
Welcome.
And I haven't seen a check-in from AJ yet, but I'm sure he's out there somewhere. And be sure, and we do have a caller coming in. I'm sure it's Garrison, but if you are watching on Facebook Live, be sure to leave a comment or a question, and we'll mention it on the air. And right now, I do believe that we have Garrison Reese on the phone. Are you with us, Garrison?
I'm here.
Hey, welcome to the Distill It with Richard Listens show, Garrison.
How's it going, guys?
All right. Thanks for joining us. Are you like on the court right now?
No, not quite.
Is this how you calm yourself before tomorrow night's airing?
Right, exactly. This is how I'm calming myself.
How are you getting tons of calls from everybody right now? Is it like
I'm starting to. I mean, we're a week out from showing, so I'm starting to get phone calls, text messages, emails, people wanting to know when we air and if I'll be on. So the hype is definitely being built.
Wait, so I have a sticker for Garrison. He
Okay.
can't even see it now, but
we'll read it to him.
We can read it to him.
So the sticker, we've got a theme of stickers here, Garrison, and the sticker that Dr. Richard has held up for you says, "Control the controllable," which is a great piece of advice. And I'm sure one that you really need to go by, not only in your fitness training world, but in your American Ninja Warrior world. You can't control that.
Right, definitely.
So we know you only have about
that course, despite how athletic I consider myself, it's nothing like American Ninja Warrior. There's only so much preparing you can do for it. And like I said, the only thing you can do is control the controllables. Go out, give your best, and hope for the best.
Absolutely. So also, Garrison, Wendy and Eira are here with us. So
Hi, Garrison.
Hey, Wendy, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
You're doing good, Garrison. Great. I don't know if you heard that, but Garrison is doing really good. So, Garrison, when does the episode air?
So the episode airs a week from today, June 12th at 7 on NBC.
Wow. So that means when we do our show next week, which we are doing a show next week on June 12th, you will be fresh off of... well, I guess here in LA, it's going to be playing 8 o'clock, right? 7 o'clock is Central Time, right?
Right.
Ooh, so your show's going to be on exactly when our show's going to be on.
So we can give live
That's
updates
right.
on the uniform.
But the good thing is, it's on Hulu and everything like that, so people that aren't watching it on Monday can still watch it Tuesday or whenever they need to.
Okay, yeah, of course. But, yeah, obviously we're biting at the bit, so... We'll keep it short here, Garrison, but in a nutshell, I know you can't really talk about it too much, but just give us, the nutshell experience. You don't have to give up any details, but just how was the experience for you?
Man, like I tell everybody, it was an experience like no other. Me, myself, like I said, I consider myself pretty athletic, and I haven't felt that challenge in a long time. And that's part of the reason why I got into this Ninja Warrior training, because it was a challenge for me. Sure, lifting weights, I can do it. Playing basketball, I can do it. This was something I couldn't confidently say that I could do. So it was so much fun. You guys will see next week that it's not as easy as it looks.
I don't think it looks easy at all.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Peter on that one.
Also, see, there's at times there's a such thing as being too athletic, which I had to learn the hard way, and you guys will see soon enough.
All right. Well, we're definitely looking forward to it, Garrison. Thanks for calling in and checking in with us on it. And we
No
probably...
problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll probably have to check back with you. Our next show after next week, I think, is June 29th. So we'll have to have you check in then to let us know and let our audience know how the whole experience was. At that point, everyone will know how it went for you.
Oh, yeah, I definitely will. I'm looking forward to it.
So, Wendy and Eira, any parting words for Garrison there?
Well, I just had a quick question, actually, because I was fascinated by what he said about sometimes you're too athletic. So can you quickly just give us a sense of what that means?
Oh, Garrison?
Yeah.
Eira asked the question that you mentioned that sometimes you could be too athletic. Can you kind of explain what you meant by that?
Well, there are a few obstacles that I actually had to dial back on. Like I said, I can't give you guys too much, but there's definitely a few obstacles that I didn't have to give it my all on. But it being my first time, I did. But like I said, you can only learn from your mistakes.
Right.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, just know we're behind you. We'll be excited as if it's happening, right alongside you. And we're just so excited you went and took a challenge like this. And I think it's a great message that even when you're on top of your game, you can face even higher heights. So thanks for joining us, and we hope you get the W tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I'm doing it for you.
All right. Thanks, Garrison.
No problem, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Bye now. All right. So that'll be very exciting for Garrison a week from tonight on NBC, American Ninja Warrior, 7 Central, 8 Pacific. And we'll see how he fared on the show. I can't wait. It's very exciting stuff. So back to Distill It with Richard Listens show. We are sitting here in the studio. I'm Peter Sobey, the host, alongside Dr. Richard Ilberger. And we have Wendy Eira via Zoom right now. So without further delay, let's kind of get to the new news of the show here and talk about the future moving forward.
Absolutely. First of all, we want to thank you guys so much, because when we all sat several months ago and decided that we would sort of come together, Richard Listens and the distillery, and take a gamble on co-hosting a show, I don't think Wendy or I really knew what we were in for. So you guys have been extraordinarily gracious and patient and have shared so much information and knowledge. And we really want to thank you guys so profoundly for all of that experience that you've shared with us. We've had such a blast getting to know some of these guests that we've come across over the last 6 months, and have really felt like we've learned a great deal and have come to love a medium that was so completely foreign to us. And so now we're really excited to see what that sort of next phase in broadcasting looks like for us. And at this moment, that looks like our very own show.
All right.
So we have got Distill It, which is a 360-degree view of life in sports, that is premiering on Tuesday, June 27th at 3 p.m.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
Yes, it is. And so aside from asking, folks to tune in and check out our very first show, we want to wish you guys so much continued success. And again, we just can't thank you guys enough for everything that we've learned and all the opportunities that we've shared together. And we're very excited to not just see what you guys do next and see what we do next, but see if and when our paths might sometime cross again.
Absolutely. And, I actually got the date wrong when I was talking to Garrison. When you said you guys are debuting on Tuesday the 27th, I mentioned our next show is on June 29th. It's actually June 26th, that Monday. So,
That's right.
Beyond just crossing paths and stuff like that, definitely let us know. Obviously, you said you're going to be at 3 o'clock on Tuesdays?
3 o'clock on Tuesdays,
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll check in with you guys on that Monday before our show.
Okay.
Because there's nothing we'd love to do more than to pump up your debut show for that Tuesday. And
it's very generous of you. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Talk about what you guys are going to talk about and stuff like that. And so it'll actually work out good, because our shows are always going to be the day before your shows.
We like that.
Are you guys going to be weekly or bi-weekly?
We're going to stick to the bi-weekly format.
Okay. Yeah, we all love that format.
Yeah, it works well. So we're excited.
And thank you for all of your kind words. I think I'll let Dr. Richard speak for himself, but it has been a wonderful journey. And obviously I knew both of you before we did the show together, but it's been a great ride, like getting to know you during the show and all of the angles and expertise that you brought into the show. And of course, I can't wait to watch your show, because you both do have so many things to say. I think that's the one benefit that our audiences are going to get from our show splitting up, is we're going to get to hear a lot more from both of you, which is great. We're going to hear a lot more from Dr. Richard on this show. So people are kind of getting, two for the price of one, getting more bang for their buck and stuff.
That's right.
So, and
I agree. That's a good point, Peter.
Now, Wendy, you'll have 40 minutes to talk about all the exciting facts that you dig up, because we never have enough time to get to all the great research you do.
And think about all the hats I can wear.
I know. And tonight is still yet another new hat. I'm sure.
Well, I keep my word.
She does.
Keep my word.
When we started,
I am going to have a new hat for every show, even continuing on. So
when we started the show, or we did our first show on, I think it was January 9th or January 6th or something like that. Yeah, Wendy vowed to wear a different hat to every show, and she kept her word. will that tradition still go on with the Distill It show?
I think for the moment,
It's
yeah.
got to be a cliffhanger. That and many more questions.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Dr. Richard, your parting words and wisdom.
Wait. Before, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Richard, but we do want to say a special thanks also to Jarvis, who we have come to love and adore.
Yes.
And we hope that we'll be able to swipe you at 3:00 on Tuesday. But anyway, we love you, Jarvis. Thank you.
He said you're welcome.
He's still wearing Gators colors. Okay, so your compliments go so far. Okay, let's see.
And you put a big smile on his face.
But let's see what does Ken Revisa say about this?
What card?
This move here.
Wow.
This is a mess.
This is very wild. So now the sticker that Dr. Richard is holding up says, "Compete the right way." And you know what's interesting is, like, when you first held it up, I thought it said "complete the right way," which is also kind of apropos for the moment. When you start something and finish something, complete it the right way.
I like how you adapted that.
And this is like a really great moment of completion for the Distill It with Richard Listens show.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's great. We always try and work together to create situations that are going to become win-win. So I'm thankful the work we've done over the last 6 months, the guests, the content, our listener base has grown. We're really thankful that we're up to 5,000 live listeners and over 5,000 downloads per show. So the listeners are speaking. They love hearing the content of the distillery. I love the work that the distillery is doing. It seems like ever since we sat down about a year ago, I meet an athlete every week or somebody who was an athlete, like our former guest, Dr. Russ, who's finding a way to repurpose that in the world. So I love that, to use your jargon, and we're behind you. We're supporting you all the way, and we hope to collaborate on many projects going forward.
And Jarvis, can you I've got their contact card in the pictures. Do you see that in there? I just want to make sure that we put that up on the screen. So Wendy and Eira, we've got the graphic up on the screen, but outside of following your show when it starts on Tuesday, June 27th at 3 p.m. Pacific time, how can people reach you there at the distillery?
Folks can find us through our website at www.thedistilleryinc.com, and you'll find both phone numbers and email addresses for each of us.
Amazing.
All right.
And
Thank you so much, guys. I mean, really, it's been amazing. We're so proud of you. We're so excited for what's to come next for us all. And again, just thank you for the last 6 months, and thank you for tonight, and wishing you guys so much success. Best of luck, guys.
And thank you guys, and the same to you. I'm really excited to listen to the first show. And
Oh,
every
wait,
show
and we're
after that.
toasting you guys.
Oh,
Wine
yes,
glass.
yes, sorry.
Oh, I love
We had
this.
wine ready to toast you guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Good night,
We'll
Wendy
see
and
you.
Eira.
We'll see you Sunday. Good luck in the race.
Thank you. Likewise.
Bye.
All right. That was Wendy and Eira of the distillery. And we are back here now live in the studio. And so I guess, like, in the form of the stickers that Dr. Richard's been holding up, and I saw the one that said "Compete the Right Way," but called it "Complete the Right Way." And now we start on new beginnings, and I'm sure that Richard might find a good new beginning sticker in there some way or somehow. But I suppose, as you heard the women of the distillery say, the Distill It show begins on Tuesday, June 27th. And that means that this show is now officially ordained back to Richard Listens, but we are to bring in fresh energy and new beginnings. We are expounding on that a little bit because here we go. Richard just found the perfect sticker. What's it say? Compensate and adjust.
You see?
And so the new official name of the Richard Listens show is Richard Listens on Sports, because we talk about sports and sports psychology mostly. Doesn't mean that we can't veer off in the more, psychology-based conversations, and we'll always be talking about fitness and wellness and health and exercise. But, predominantly we talk about sports and sports psychology, and we'd like to think, we talk about things and we have guests that aren't your typical guest that you would see on ESPN or something.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't think anyone who knew me in high school would have thought that our last guest would be an expert fly fisher, and I'm just blown away. Now I want to be out there like learning how to catch trout. So
totally,
our guests change us; they inspire us.
So we are excited for Wendy and Eira and their new Distill It show. We're very excited for Richard and Peter and the new Richard Listens on Sports show. And if you keep with us, we have another 20 minutes of the show or so. We are going to talk about a few new features on the show. We're going to talk about future guests. It's all really exciting stuff. So just a little teaser for you. Don't forget, if you're watching us on Facebook.com/RichardListens, to leave your comments and questions. I do see that my dear friend Lori Storty Hankey checked in. She said, "Hi, Peter." Hi, Lori. Hi, Bud. Good to see you guys. Sean Miller, my childhood friend from Carpentersville, has written us a very interesting thing. He just shared a plane ride with Dwight Howard from Atlanta to Cleveland. First class seats, of course. And he also thought it wasn't fair that we didn't have wine for the toast at the end, but I guess we didn't think that far ahead.
Well, we'll welcome a bottle for the next show. Thanks, Sean.
Definitely, but wow, that must have been interesting. When you say you shared a plane ride, I wonder, does that mean you sat next to him or you just saw him across from you? Because that would be interesting to find out if you had a conversation with him and how that went.
Yeah, is he on his way to catch the finals game? I mean, Sean, you're allowed to follow people and interview him as a field correspondent.
Right. And Sean said he'd send us a bottle of wine, so we can't wait for that bottle of wine. So, yes, and now speaking of old childhood friends and everything like that, Dr. Richard, this is it's a different kind of show for us because, we're transitioning and we still need to explain these stickers. We had this amazing day on Saturday that I'm so excited to talk about. It was a sports psychology seminar with like one of the pioneers of sports psychology. So before we get into that, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about new features coming up. We're going to be talking about future guests. But right now, I want to thank you, Richard, for kind of indulging me in this because I've got a very, 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 very dear friend in town that we met in community college way back in the day. And he's in town for his daughter's wedding. And, I invited him to stop by the studio because here's the thing. I'm going to just say a couple things about my friend here. First of all, the reason why I was so happy that he could make it here is back in our community college days, we co-hosted a radio show together at the campus radio station called WHCM, Harper College Cable Access Radio.
Wow.
And we'll have to jog each other's memories about a couple features we used to do on that show. But the second thing I want to say about my dear, dear friend that's sitting here in the studio with us is that, I spent freshman year at this community college, Harper Community College, and that was before I was in a wheelchair. And then in that year I met my friend, Jim Hoffman, and we pretty much met on a choir trip to England together and became really great friends. But then between my freshman and sophomore year in college is when I had my accident.
Wow.
And became spinal cord injured. And, once I basically took a year off. I was in the hospitals and rehabs for like 9 months. And then I started back to summer school and then full-time sophomore year. But, when you go through a trial like that, you really find out who your true friends are.
Yeah.
And,
you find out who can sing.
Yeah. And I was never one of them that could sing.
Sorry about that.
But before I go on, so basically, Jim was the friend of friends during that time, man. I mean, this guy got me out into the world. He was getting me in and out of my wheelchair into his little red car, taking me everywhere, stood by my side through high and dry, man. So, people, friends, human beings, they don't come truer than Jim Hoffman. So I'm so glad you could stop in, Jim Hoffman.
Well, thank you very much. Wonderful to be here. Hi.
Hi.
Hello there.
Nice to meet you.
Listen to that voice. He's
Very
got a voice
kind.
made for radio.
Very kind.
Sets the bar high for drop-in guests, but try it. Knock at the door. Well, we might let you in.
Yeah.
Right. And so, besides doing radio show with me back at WHCM Harper College,
We did, yeah.
Jim's got a long history. You ran what, a recording studio, like a production facility?
Yeah, still do. In Chicago, we have a audio and sound and production company there that specialize mostly in TV commercials and all that fun. But yeah, kind of sit in a recording studio and have a lot of fun. Make noises, make weird sounds.
And Jim's also quite the musician in his own right.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
What do you play?
I play guitar, and I can hack on a keyboard a little bit. It's kind of an interesting question anymore. Like most of the new toys and instruments, you play a computer,
Right.
of some form. So yeah, it's good. It is
Right.
good indeed,
So Jim,
sir.
we used to do a radio show together, and that radio show was called A Radio Show, 2 Hours of Pleasure,
Yes, it was.
because it was a radio show, and it lasted 2 hours, and it was pleasurable.
For us anyway.
For us, at least.
For us anyway. We never did an official survey, so it was really hard to say how.
Makes
how
people
that
really
works.
curious about what you're having so much fun doing.
It does. And, I still have cassette tapes of our show. So I'll have to crack one of those out at some point in time. So do you remember some of our old features? I can remember one. I remember playing Feels So Good by Chuck Mangione for the segment that was called And Now You Know.
And now that's the one I remember. Yeah,
Okay,
that's the one that stands out.
And I know we used to interview people around the campus, so it's kind of like this show a little bit. We'd have a guest in, like
Yep.
Mary Jo Willis talking about her acting class, or
Yep.
Michael Neiman talking about the events.
Social events, yeah, shows, concerts,
Yeah.
anything along those lines. And now you remember what that was about, right?
I do. I mean, basically, it was we would while Chuck Mangione, Feels So Good, was playing in the background, we would take turns just speaking random facts.
Dropping interesting tidbits.
Yeah. And then at the end of sharing a few tidbits of facts, we would then say, and now you know.
That was it. That was it indeed.
Yeah.
So do you have an interesting fact you can drop on everybody right now?
Yeah, maybe we should throw a couple back and forth. I don't have any, but off the top of I'll come up with something off the top of my head. So here we go. So for the And Now You Know segment on the Richard Listens show, did you know in the history of baseball, there's never been a game where all 9 starting batters have each hit a home run in the game? How about you now, Jim, for an exciting fact?
Well, that's pressure. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna set it on to you. What do you got for us?
Wow.
Can you lay a fact on us
hold
there,
on.
Dr. Richard?
Hold on.
Okay, he's putting up the stoplight there. Check in and breathe. Okay. All right. Well, I'll take a deep
Hold on.
breath.
Gee, I'm on the spot.
Well, we gave you one fact, and so now you know something new, and now you know.
Well, I think I'll drop an interesting fact from our guest the mentor that we listened to this weekend.
Yes, let's finally
which
talk
really
about that.
shook up my mind as we have sports coaches and youth sports conversations here. That in fact, in the time when Ken Ravizza was playing, so we're talking in the 60s, that in fact parents did not always come to their children's Little League games.
Go figure.
It's not as big as shocking as perhaps what Peter said, but this whole phenomenon of parents being everywhere and a little bit tiger parenting and helicoptering and guilt that we need to be there for, as I sit on the Little League sideline on every pitch, protecting our youngins from missing a pitch or making an error. That in fact there was a different culture back then. There was a different culture of perhaps learning without being observed so tightly, and that brought out a little nostalgia for me.
Yeah, and I mean, plus it was also a different time. I think that my father literally couldn't barely make it to games because he worked an hour away at a factory. So there was like no way you'd be able to get back, from Wheeling to Carpentersville in time for game. But the weekend games he always made sure to go to. But yeah, back then though, it wasn't like, parents. It wasn't like today. If your parents not at the game, it's like, call child abuse services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that joke from comedian Sebastian Maniscalco where he's talking about, he says his father is Sicilian and he met him formally when he was 18 by going to the factory and seeing him at work, because that's that's the only place that you should be, So anyway, a little bit less trivia oriented.
Yes, and so yeah, go ahead, Jim.
I think they found a way to kind of dissuade parents from being too involved. Like I know with my kids, if he showed up at the soccer game, they'd make you hold the flag and run up and down the field at 7 in the morning, at 60 degrees. So,
did you see me a month ago?
Was that what you were doing? That's a good deterrent. I think.
Drive an hour away, show up an hour before everyone else,
yeah,
and put on a neon yellow shirt and keep up with the fastest 14-year-old and call offsides accurately.
Yes, there you go.
I don't know if I got them all right.
And Richard was just up in Reno or something?
Carson City, Nevada.
I mean, you're all over the place with your son's soccer team.
I am. We even have a photo somewhere in here. But yes, it's been a great way to see at least Southern California for me, being a New Yorker, getting exposed. And I'll be in Camarillo in 2 weeks, up by the strawberry fields.
Wow.
And I guess they actually cut the grass to FIFA length. They don't touch it after Wednesday.
Wow,
So
that's incredible.
That's
beauty and
commitment.
art. Yes.
Yeah, that's commitment. That's nice. That's good.
And so, Jim, we're happy to have you here. And for me, this is like, what a great reunion. I think the first time we've been across from each other with headphones and microphones in 30 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You referenced the cassette tapes of the show. That should tell you something right there, right?
Exactly. Yes. So yeah, it's good to have you here. And now it's like, we have about 10 minutes left, right? 5 minutes left. And we have so much to talk about. So what I want to get into is Richard and I were at a sports psychology seminar Saturday, and it was led by none other than Dr. Ken Ravizza, who is the mental guru team psychologist of the World Series champion Chicago Cubs. Richard, how about it, man?
Yes, I'm blown away. I'm blown away. Ken Ravizza was kind enough and humble enough to welcome us into his home to offer this seminar. So it was a really surreal experience, especially going alongside Peter, who is a diehard Cubs fan. And I wasn't sure if Peter was joking or not when he held the World Series ring and threatened to run away with it.
Right. We do have a photo here with me. Okay, this photo we're showing right now is me wearing an official Chicago Cubs 2016 World Series champion ring encrusted with 108 diamonds representing each year since the last World Series victory. And the red Cubs C logo is made out of red rubies. It's as big as like a ping pong ball. I mean, the ring is huge and it's heavy, but it was like a thrill of a lifetime to wear a real Chicago Cubs World Series ring. This isn't a replica. This is a real.
I saw that. I was impressed. I was like, there's some envy going on for sure that you guys actually touched that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And it was great to see Peter so happy, and I know how much that meant to the city of Chicago. And I'm just so impressed by the humility of, you meet an expert in the field, you meet someone who's been doing this for nearly 40 years, a professor at Cal State Fullerton, someone who's walked alongside Joe Madden in the Tampa Bay Rays and now the world champion Cubs. And, I guess I anticipate a little bit of an ego of I know everything. And he kind of, just began it like we were it was kind of nice that we were kind of in a smaller room, about 20 of us. And he said, check your egos at the door, and kind of immersed us into what he would be doing, like a pregame or at a halftime with a bunch of players in a room, and some visualization strategies helping people to get centered not only in their body, how are they, especially the baseball player, how you hold yourself as you step into the batter's box or in the field, whether it be in between, successes or failures or perceived failures. And really gave us a great illustration of how much is going through a player's head, somebody who's a high performer and the pressures they're under. And it was a real privilege and enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much information. The one exciting thing I could say is that Dr. Ken is going to be a guest on our show coming up in the future. Hopefully on the 26th of June is when I'm hoping to line him up. We just showed a graphic there of Jake Arrieta. He had a quote, and it was basically like one of the stickers you held up is what was that about being comfortable or control the controllables?
Yeah, that was a big piece
Control the
of
controllables.
Dr. Ken's teaching, control the controllables, because there's so many things. It's a great metaphor for sports and life. There's so many things that we know, and clients that walk in my door and they're handling a lot of big things, and some things you may not be able to change overnight. But there are always, when you get back to basics, certain elements of your life, of your thinking, of the way you're being that you can control. So that's, when he says control the controllable, I think that's great for most athletes because, the pressures grow, and depending on, winning streak, losing streak, your mind can really go to negative places, and it may not be so cool in the locker room to be saying, hey, I'm anxious or depressed, or I think I don't have it anymore, or this injury recovery isn't going as quick as I'd like it to. And there's a lot of social comparison in the locker room, or fears of being sent back or demoted or not getting that extension. So I really loved that, and he did quite a bit of an illustration on his work with Evan Longoria of the Tampa Bay Rays, and really showing something I'd always watched on TV for years, how he would step out of the box and really take this just gigantic breath, and then focus in on certain elements of his approach, from his batting gloves to his bat to the foul pole, and really crucial and important things to learn as well. Key side note about Evan Longoria, that he was not the most talented. He was not even drafted, and then 18 months later, he was an all-star and in the World Series. So it's a great message for young people out there watching, listening. If you love something, if you believe it, if you can control the controllables, if you can work on your mental game, work with parents, mentors, coaches to be in your body and be in yourself, and just work on what you can improve upon, sky's the limit.
Yes, and if you hold up, we've got a graphic of Dr. Ken's book. We've got it here. We'll have Dr. Ken on the show, but we've only got a minute left. So basically, if you go to facebook.com/RichardListens, we have a couple of videos we took Saturday from the event. One is Dr. Richard and I interviewing Dr. Ken for a couple minutes. We've got a video of me, clowning around with the ring and being happy about the ring. So, but exciting things. I wanted to go so much more we had to talk about today. The show went by so fast. We'll be back live next Monday, June 12th at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Our guest is going to be Dr. Kathleen Tarr, a Stanford University professor yet again. She is an amazing woman, and she's doing amazing things for the betterment of female equality, and she's got some great stories about her athletic career as a woman that could only go so far because she wanted to play football with the men, but it just doesn't happen, and I can't wait to hear those stories. Hasn't yet.
But maybe.
So also coming up, we're going to be doing some great segments. We're going to bring back Richard's List of 3, and the List of 3 tonight is that we're going to have 3 new segments. Richard's List of 3, number 1. Number 2 on the Richard Listens List of 3 is we're going to be spending a couple minutes during the show with previous guests of the show and touching base with them, seeing how they're doing, what they're up to. And number 3 on Richard Listens' list of 3 of upcoming new features is we're going to be doing kind of like a health and wellness corner and bringing in various fitness, health experts, wellness people that are really big out there, including our friends from Studio Gym, some friends of mine, Caitlin and Brittany, who are amazing fitness and health experts. And so there's going to be so many new fun things on the Richard Listens on Sports show, many great guests. Like we said, Dr. Ken Ravizza. We're going to have actually Ken was a mentor to Chris Stretch. He's going to be on the show talking a lot about youth in sports. And we're going to be talking about the psychology of equestrians, bringing in a guest, like talking about the relationship between the jockey and the horse, which is interesting. We're going to be bringing in a guest talking about figure skating and, starting a professional sport when you're like 6 years old. How crazy is that? And your career's over when you're 22.
And we're open to it. If you have suggested topics, if you have interested things, we just love the evolution of the show. I love that Jim Hoffman showed up tonight. I love that guests literally pop in on our show. It's a living organic thing. Every time we go somewhere, we out there, we meet people, and it's just evolving. And we want to represent you. We want to talk, and we want to grow. So thank you all.
And be sure to check out the Facebook page. We're always putting up little videos when we're out and about. And Dr. Richard will be in Cleveland soon, so we're excited at another kind of psychology.
With Jim Lasik, the sports psychologist for Cleveland Indians. And hi, Susie Yim. Nice to see you.
And thank you, Jim Hoffman, for coming in. And thank you, Jarvis, for an amazing show again. We will see you next week, 8 p.m. Pacific time, Monday, June 12th, for the Richard Listens on Sports show. Thank you. Good night.